The next question pertains to sustainability. Sustainability is the question of how to live well in a place for generations. This is both an existential and cultural question in 2024. Existential in that San Jose from Alviso into District 6 will face ocean and storm inundation in the century ahead with present projections of sea level rise, necessitating attention on climate restoration and the use of renewable resources and energy. Cultural in that the shifts to renewable resources require making changes to our common spaces across the city, such as the changes to our roads into complete streets that are more suitable for pedestrians and cyclists, an action that comes at the cost of narrowing the portion of the road available for cars. In light of this, what are your positions regarding the implementation of sustainability policies for San Jose and District 6 in particular? Alex.
Well, sustainability is near and dear to my heart. I've been an environmental advocate since I was a college student interning at the Sierra Club. It may be part of the reason I'm the only candidate on the stage endorsed by the League of Conservation Voters. I've been fighting for years through Catalyze SV, through my time working with VTA and their staff to build BART and to build a better bus transit system in our valley. I've been fighting for these things, and I will continue to fight for them. I know that we need walkable communities where people can bike, take public transit, and yes, even take a scooter every now and again, if you're so bold. We need that for our communities. And so when we at Catalyze SV evaluate development projects, we ask a developer, how sustainable is this project that you are building? Are you building to a certification from a third party that makes a project more environmentally friendly? What efforts are you taking to decrease the amount of cars that might be in this project that will cause more pollution and more congestion? And we push really hard for things like more bike parking, public transit passes to support our public transit system. So those are things I will continue to push for as your council member. You know, when a council member gets asked about a new development project, like Deb Davis does, the developer comes to the council member and says, what do you think about my proposal? And when a developer does that with me, I will ask them 4 questions. How much housing are you going to build? How much affordable housing are you going to build? What's your community engagement process for talking to the community about what they want to see from the development? And number 4, what are the community benefits you're going to bring to the project that will help enhance the neighborhood for the new residents and existing neighbors alike? And part of that conversation will always be about how do we make a project and a community as sustainable as possible.
We have the opportunity in San Jose to be an innovator again. We started this 30 years ago, 40 years ago maybe, I don't know, 40 years ago, in this innovation model. We have lost our way. When it comes to the model of innovation for environmental securities and environmental stewardship moving forward, the city of San Jose, the state of California is the tail that wags the dog of the United States. What we do in this state, the rest of the United States does in 5 to 10 years. What we do in Northern California, the rest of the state does in 4 to 5 years. We can plant our flag and we can be the people that say, we're going to make sustainable change. Of the things I hear about when knocking doors, one of the issues of the heat map that I would not have expected before knocking doors was parking. So parking becomes a very dynamic issue, and it's very much centralized to individual neighborhoods and stuff. But parking is interconnected towards environment, interconnected towards our transit systems. When we have this model of trying to reduce the amount of cars on the road without the right type model fit or the bolstering of our transit infrastructure itself, we are creating a squeeze for people who cannot afford to live in this space. I met a woman with a 64 who takes a 64B bus off of Race Street. And she said that she's afraid to take the bus in the evenings and when she likes to do her grocery shopping because she works during the day. This is interconnected to the model of homelessness because homelessness and blight scares her. So now our public transportation system is not being used because of homelessness, because of blight, because of crime. Every one of these models is interconnected. I want to be able to ensure that we put solar panels on every one of our huge flat roofs so that when Sarah flies in from moving abroad for any of her work tours, she can see solar panels. We have low-hanging fruit that we can take right now. We can be the solution the rest of the country needs in 5 to 10 years. Thank you.
So global warming is real. I don't think anybody would go against that on this podium here. San Jose needs to stand up to its environmental policy and continue to lead greenhouse gas emissions and reduction thereby. The issues that sort of concern me, and I'm going to address the one piece buried in your question about things like, road dieting and narrowing, right? So I think, like, you drive down Heading and, now it's down to lanes with bike lanes, right? But when it was first put in, it looks beautiful, shiny and new. And then a year later, there's pylons knocked down and the striping is gone. We did a road diet in downtown Willow Glen, Lincoln Avenue, same thing, right? Infrastructure put in, road diet, 2 lanes, but it looks like it's been forgotten, right? The striping is gone, the pylons are gone. If San Jose is going to invest in these kinds of programs, it needs to invest for the long term. You can't do sort of long-term plays with short-term resources. So for me, anything in those kinds of plays that San Jose does has to be in it for the long game. And so we can't allow infrastructure like that to look like it's sort of dirties our neighborhoods. So for me, I think we have got to double down and make sure that we have long-term funding for those.
Thank you. So for those of you guys that may or may not know, I actually supported and ran the campaign for Measure T, which is what repaved our streets and roads. So I can tell you what I would do, but more or less you can just walk outside and see what I've already done with the help of many of our voters in the city of San Jose. And it repaved many of our streets, which made it safer for our pedestrians, our cyclists, our skateboarders. I learned because of my son and all his friends told me that made it safer for them. And they were very active on Nextdoor organizing, and which I found out were very happy when it passed and they got their streets repaved. And it also made it safer for our motorists. So I'm happy to say that I would support projects like that. When it comes to the road diet that happened on Lincoln Avenue, I would say projects like that are interesting, but we also have to consider the impacts, like the small businesses, and also impacts when somebody's having, for example, a stroke or a heart attack in the middle of that Lincoln Avenue, and ER paramedics can't get to them. So when we're having projects like that, let's just be conscious and considerate of the ramifications long-term wise. So when we have infrastructure challenges like that, we need to make a conscious effort on how it's going to impact the rest of the businesses in the community at large, because it will divert traffic to go into the outside areas in the neighborhood. And I know because I walked all those small businesses, and some of them actually unfortunately closed down because they were impacted. And some of the residents outside in the neighborhood have seen an overwhelming amount of cars that speed down their neighborhoods. And a lot of the kids walk those streets. So I'm really concerned about them actually getting run over. Thank you.